News.
We're cutting into programming to bring you breaking news this afternoon. We're expecting an update from Des Moines Police about two police officers shot in the line of duty overnight. A suspect is also dead. Let's listen in.
Vehicle. That's when he started to speed away. It lasted right around 20 seconds, maybe even a little less, before he turned the corner here and crashed his car. As the first officer pulled up, they got out of the car. He was rocking that car trying to get it to move. I don't think he might have understood exactly how disabled it was. They were giving him some pretty simple instructions to turn the car off, get out of the car. He didn't comply with any of that they offered. As this continued on, they told him, we're going to deploy a taser if you don't stop, turn the car off and get out. He again ignored them and they deployed the taser. As they went in to take him into custody, he began to violently struggle with them. At one point was on the ground outside the car kicking up. That's when he pulled out the handgun and started firing. Two of our officers were hit. There were a total of 4 Des Moines officers on the scene at that time, and 3 of them returned fire.
Was he on the ground when he started shooting? How was his hands? How were they accessible? What was that kind of look like?
Well, he wasn't in custody yet, so, you know, he wasn't handcuffed, so he wasn't able to, I mean, we weren't able to stop his hands. Does that make sense? You got it? Okay.
Was the handgun in his waistband? Or?
It's still trying to figure out exactly where that came from. If he had it in a pocket or a waistband, we don't know.
Was there any outstanding warrants or anything with the vehicle aside from the equipment violation?
Not that we know right now. I mean, nothing came back on the plate. They're still doing their investigation again, and DCI is assisting us, so all those little details will come out, but right now nothing stands out.
I know it's early, but do you know how many shots were fired in total?
No, I mean, you've been here, you saw the scene. There's a lot of evidence placards out there, you know, and you got a dynamic situation like that. You're taking care of that threat, and you're going to keep shooting until that threat's taken care of.
Can you talk about the medical response and how the officers, who signaled to who that an officer was down, and what it kind of looked like when the medical arrived on the scene?
Well, I think if you've heard some of the audio already, the officers were right on the radio saying that we've got an officer down, we've got an officer down. But the officers that responded and the officers that were there immediately started the first aid to everybody who had been injured. We're fortunate that right around the corner is the fire station, so those medics were able to get here pretty quickly, give that little more advanced care, and then get them on to the hospital so they can be taken care of there.
Any information you can share about the suspect right now?
He's a 37-year-old male. We're working through getting the family notifications. We'll share that name. And as soon as we're done here, you'll have a written release.
Des Moines resident?
I believe Carlisle.
Where were the officers shot? Are you able to share that?
Yeah, so one of the officers was hit in the arm, and the other one was struck in the head.
So how are they? Have you talked to them? What are their spirits like?
You know, they're recovering right now. One of them's not able to talk to us. He's going to have some pretty extensive care ongoing right now. The second one has been able to talk to his friends and speak with the chief, and they're all down at the hospital right now. So, I mean, all in all, we're very, very fortunate. When you look at a close quarter shooting like that, and plus an officer being struck in the head, we could be telling a very, very different story right now if the circumstances had been just a millimeter different.
Here in Des Moines, officers being shot while responding to calls is pretty rare compared to a lot of other cities. We've had, 3 officers shot now in the last 2 months, 2 incidents of it. I guess, how do you talk to the other patrolmen and other officers on DMPD about situations like this?
Well, it's definitely something you're aware of when you sign on. We know what the risks are, but as you look around the country right now, there's a cop being shot about every 22 hours. So, that's definitely something that we take note of. But probably the most important thing to see is that, roll call started at 6 o'clock this morning and everybody was there. And tonight, everybody's going to be in roll call. Again, I mean, that's just how we're built. We understand the risks. We do everything we can to keep ourselves safe, but our job is to stand in between you and danger like what we saw earlier tonight, and that's what we're going to do.
Are there any, mental health resources that you have available in times like this?
Right now, we are hearing an update from Des Moines Police Sergeant Paul Parizek regarding an officer-involved shooting that took place in the city of Des Moines earlier this morning. 2 officers were injured. 1 suspect was involved in this. He has died. They say he is a 37-year-old male from Carlisle. Sergeant Paul Parisic also tells us the 2 officers injured, one was hit in the arm, the other one was injured in the head. The officer who was hit in the head right now, obviously undergoing extensive care at a hospital in Des Moines. The DCI is also investigating this. This is still very much an active scene. This all took place on Easton Boulevard. It is temporarily closed and will remain closed until further notice. It's closed from East 23rd Street through East 25th Street. We will have much more on this developing story throughout our newscast, including the news at noon. For now, we'll send you back to programming.